Another day, another dollar as I holler to the world. I love the way I'm living, love the Gucci, love the girls, love the parties and the clubs, love the models and hot tubs, love the German engineering set on deep dish dubs. Another tour around the world, entertaining the fans. I love walking through the airport, taking pictures, shaking hands. Every day for me's an oyster, crack it open, find a pearl. I love the way I live is what I holler to the world.
Welcome back to Marking Out with MVP and Dwayne Swayze.
I'm just gonna give it to you raw. We taped 2 episodes today. This is the 2nd episode. And as I said on the other episode, I just grabbed a couple t-shirts from the jiu-jitsu shirt pile. No suit. I'm tired, man. It's a rough weekend traveling, but I made it here. We're at the Speakeasy, and we are gonna get this episode done for you, because you expect it. And at this point, we have this relationship that I was talking about before. So I don't want to let you down. I've let most people down in the relationships that I've been in. I don't want to let you down. I'm turn over a new leaf in my life.
Thank you, P. Thank you. So first up today.
Wait, hold on. First, please like, comment, subscribe, share.
And share.
Thank you. I mean that sincerely. Thank you. All right.
So our Patreon subscriber, Ryan Blanchard, but he also goes by Gully.
Gully
Blanchard.
Gully Blanchard, as in Tully.
And he is from Pittsburgh, but not that Pittsburgh. I was Rich when all this information is coming to me. I had to triple check, so shout out Rich. He's from Pittsburgh, California.
What?
There's a Pittsburgh.
I'm the white guy meme.
Yeah. When the spelling came across, I was like, yo, isn't it like an H or something in here? But it's like not too far from Oakland. But he's from Pittsburgh, California.
That must be the pits. But see what I did there?
So Gully Blanchard wants to ask you, when you were making longer loops, road trips with WWE, how would you organize your travel? For example, how did you find a gym, a hotel, a rental, navigation from city to city, etc.?
All right, so I just covered that recently, Mr. Gully Blanchard. But I was talking about technology and how things have progressed. Back when I first started, there was no technology that you could just put in your phone, find a gym near me, and all the gyms pop up. A lot of it was word of mouth. The guys, the boys, men and women who were on the road knew what towns had gyms. There were certain gyms that looked out for the boys. When you were in that town, you got to go in there for free. They wouldn't even charge you. Hotels, finding a hotel, a lot of the time was trial and error. Some guys would want to stay in the town that they were in that night and find a hotel, try to get something to eat, get a drive the next day. Some people like to bounce and be out, get a few hours in, and get to the next town and then get your hotel. I have done it personally where I was on the road and said, I'll just drive there and I'll keep an eye out for hotels, and when I come to one that I like, I'll just pull off and book there. But then I've done that where I pulled in and now we don't have any rooms,
Oh, so you was taking a big chance.
Yeah. And then, okay, well, I'll drive to the next one and now we don't have any rooms. Like, damn, I'm starting to get tired. I'm starting to get sleepy. Will I make it? So it was a lot harder back then because you literally had to go to the yellow pages. Yeah, there was a thing called the yellow pages. It was this big book that had addresses for businesses in it. Sometimes you just ask. You pull up to a convenience store or a gas station and ask, hey, where's a gym around here? Or, what's a good restaurant around here? Or, where are the hotels? And that was a long time ago. That doesn't exist anymore. Now, it's like Star Trek. Like I remember being a kid when they would say computer, and then it would start talking and the computer would, now you just Siri. And hold on,
yeah, now my phone's about to turn on.
Yeah. So yeah, back then that's how it was, man. Everything was manual. Like you had to actually look stuff up from an atlas or a phone book, or ask for directions from town to town. It was real. It was very different, and it was a lot more demanding. But through the years, crisscrossing the country, there were a lot of veteran guys that knew certain towns, and they would say, hey man, this town, we stay here a lot, there's a gym in this town. So word got kind of spread around, where to go, where not to go, things like that.
Did WWE have like a partnership with a specific gym?
I think, I want to say back then there was like some sort of a partnership that they had with Gold's Gym.
Gold's Gym, okay.
Where a lot, not all the time, but a lot of the Gold's Gym, we could just walk in and say we were WWF and WWE, and they would mark it down and let us. And sometimes it would be like, yeah, we don't care, you got to pay the daily rate. You know, like, we don't. But usually, yeah, I remember a lot of the time working out at Gold's for free. I also remember that was the first time I discovered the joke that is Planet Fitness. The what is it they call it, the no judgment zone. Well, if you actually work out and you're serious, you know, then they judge you, because I had my cornrows, so I used to wear a do-rag when I would work out to keep my hair fresh through the weekend. Well, you're Planet Fitness, you're not allowed to wear a do-rag because that's bodybuilding culture.
So you're just gonna sweat your hair out?
Yeah, but and the guy told me that I had to take off my do-rag to work out. You're not allowed to wear spaghetti strap tank tops because that's bodybuilding culture. You can't have a jug of water, a whole full gallon jug, you know. And if you drop a weight, then they have
that's the noise.
The lunk alert.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So they call it the no judgment zone. But if you're a bodybuilder or if you're an avid, then they judge the fuck out of you. You know. And I remember just saying, well, wait a minute, hold on a second. I'm gonna pay to work out, and you're telling me that I can't wear a do-rag to work out here? That woman has a scarf on her head for the same reasons that I'm wearing this do-rag. But I can't wear my do-rag because your perception of my do-rag is it's bodybuilding culture. So that was lame. Planet Fitness is lame, where they're giving you pizza and donuts and, while you're working out. Don't get me started. I hate Planet Fitness. Anyway, I digress.
10-4.
No judgments on my ass.
Gully Blanchard, thank you very much for your question. Ryan Gully Blanchard from Pittsburgh, California. So if you guys want to ask MVP a question, please go down to the description, look for the link to our Patreon, and if you join the Syndicate Club tier or higher, you can submit questions and I will ask them to MVP.
On your behalf.
On your behalf.
Yeah. So, yeah. And you can ask about anything you want. Anything. I don't care. I'll give you an answer. I don't know if it's the answer you're looking for, but I'll give you an answer. We shy away from nothing here.
Well, let's get into the first question of the day before I have some more of this Devil's River bourbon whiskey.
I'm going to have some right now.
Thank you, Dave. How do you handle the challenge of working with inexperienced talent?
With an overhead. That went down the wrong. See, that's what I get for talking shit. Instant karma. I was about to say with an overhand right. Hold on. Yeah, that went down the other side. And you wonder what my voice sounds like. People, what happened to MVP's voice? Whiskey and weed.
Not Newports.
No, although I did smoke Newports once a long time ago. You can imagine, right? Yeah. Like Hank III said, you guys know Hank Williams Sr., Hank Williams Jr., Hank III. One of my favorite songs from him is Whiskey, Weed, and Women. And he says, but the whiskey, weed, and women got the upper hand. Boy, ain't that the truth. Anyway, question, how do you handle inexperienced talent?
Yeah.
That's a very, very simple answer. Keep it simple. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Because you will have young talent that are ambitious and exuberant, and they're gonna want to do these, have ideas to do things that a veteran might not be so comfortable doing because, kid, I don't know you, or maybe just what you want to do doesn't work for this match, or your ideas are bad ideas, but you're putting them in the wrong place. So as a veteran, you let that younger, less experienced talent know, well, it's not a bad idea, but I think it would be better if we did it this way. Or if you're in the ring working and you realize, this kid has no clue, then you just grab a hold That's just straight OG talk. Grab a hold, take a hold, grind them down, talk to them, let them know.
Oh, okay.
Grab a hold, grab some kind of a hold, what people call rest holds. There's no such thing as a rest hold. You grab a hold, slow them down, settle them down, and talk to them. Hey, settle down, man, settle down. Take it easy, take it easy. Because the young guys, and I remember very well, have a desire to want to go. And if you look at, some of today's matches, the high spot fest, they're just going. They're not even taking time to sell any of this amazing, devastating things that they're doing. Like, dude, stay down for a while. Like, that looked great. Pretend it hurt. Lay there for a few minutes. Let it sink in. Let the crowd absorb that instead of just being like, okay, up, on to the next spot. And there's an audience for that. As I've said many times, there are people that like that style of wrestling, just being bam, But I remember when I was coming up, having veterans like Dave Johnson, rest in power. Like, he taught me so much. I worked with him so much. And he would have full conversations with me through the match. And at that stage, I was like, how does he do this? Like, I'm like a horse with blinders on. I can barely see past the third row, that there are people out there. And he would have conversations and he would tell me what to do. And when I was in there with Dave, all I had to do was listen. And I know we were going to have a great match. I was safe because he was my safety net. He wasn't going to he would protect me from myself. Because sometimes these young guys and women want to do stupid shit. And it's like, hey, listen, not tonight. And if you're going to do, like I said before, if you're going to do that, save that for this night, this occasion. Or, yeah, that's a great idea for you to do with somebody else, to quote The Rock. But if it's a younger, inexperienced person who has aptitude and is willing to learn, then they've got no problem slowing down. And they will listen because they want to learn. And you literally take them by the hand and guide them. Now, if it's an inexperienced person who's not listening, well, then it changes things up, then you got to get a little more hands-on.
Have you run into that?
Oh, yeah, a couple times, and it's just like, listen, you can't do anything to me in this ring I don't let you do. If you ain't Brock Lesnar or Bobby Lashley or some guy like that, then settle down. It's going to be a long night for both of us otherwise, But most of the time, the younger, inexperienced talent that I've run into had a desire to learn. They wanted to learn because I've been to places that they want to go. And usually, and especially because I don't like to talk a lot about the match. I'm not going to spend 3 hours putting together a 15-minute match with you. We'll talk about maybe how we want to open. We'll talk about a heat spot. We'll get the finish locked in. The rest we're going to walk and talk, man, So I don't really have to worry about that so much. And when you're in the back putting shit together, you can tell what you're dealing with, usually. And, like, oh, it's going to be a rough night tonight. It's going to be a rough night for you. It ain't going to be rough for me.
How was Dave, able to speak to you, throughout the match and, everyone not really hearing?
Grab a hold.
Okay. Is it at a whisper?
You grab that rear chin lock. And, well, think about it this way. A lot of the time, and this blows people's minds, MVP used to talk a lot of shit throughout the course of the match. And a lot of the time, you thought MVP was saying, I'm going to beat your ass. MVP was saying, block this punch, duck this clothesline. And then,
oh, okay.
Or you use the referee. You tell the referee, hey, ref, tell him ABC 1, 2, 3. And the ref will be like, all right, hey, he said ABC 1, 2, 3. You got it? Okay, all right, You use your resources so you can communicate. Now, if it's somebody who's really inexperienced, that gets a little bit harder because maybe they don't understand or they're trying to rush. That's why with Dave, he would grab a hold to settle me down. We would grab a headlock takeover, boom. We're going to stay there for a minute, And you could see him talk to me because as far as you're concerned, he's talking shit to me.
Okay.
Your facial expressions, man, we could be talking about, hey, man, my son just took his first steps the other day. My son just took his first steps the other day. Oh, really? Oh, man, that's amazing, man. Oh, that's great. Wow. You know, we got whole conversations going on. I remember, well, I won't say his name because but one guy who was a mentor to me, he's married, so I don't know if his wife would appreciate this, but sometimes he would do shit where he would grab me in a headlock and he would turn my head and he would say, hey, look at that blonde in the second row. Knockers on her, brother. You know? I'd be like,
You see that, Pete?
oh, wow, yeah, I see that. Ooh, oh, wow, okay, you know. But grab a hold, slow it down, communicate. That's how you deal with younger, inexperienced talent. Keep it simple. Don't try to do, don't try to have a WrestleMania all-in main event match, Keep it simple, be smart, and communicate. That's how you deal with that. And then afterwards, the kid does good, get him a drink, celebrate. If he does bad, it's a different conversation.
What's the significance of body language in conveying a wrestler's persona?
Body language is your communication to the audience. Again, everything in wrestling is visual. It's a visual sport. It's a visual form of entertainment. That's why you have body guys. Guys look athletic and being able to convey being able to convey how you're feeling through your physical display is everything. Because if you're a tough guy, you come out, your face twisted up, and if you're a comedy guy, you're being goofy, whatever. If you're a baby face, you're smiling and you got big energy and fire and you're slapping hands. But that also comes to matches and telling the story of the match. Like at first, hey, we're both full of energy, and my character, I'm like this, and I'm little, and you're like, come on, you son of a bitch, come on. I'm like, whoa, hey, take it easy there, Tiger Chun-Li. Google it. He used to say, he never said it to me. Bruno Sassi was someone he taught this to, and Bruno taught it to me. He used to say, I teach you secret to business. Babyface, hands forward. Heel, hands back. Secret to business. It doesn't matter where you go in the world. Wrestling works because it's one of the oldest stories known to man. Good versus evil. You give me a guy who I've never met before, but who knows how to work. He's a babyface. I'm the heel. We've never met. I don't know him. We can go to China, to a place where people have never seen wrestling. And you say, okay, you guys go out there, give me 15 minutes, heels up with the ball shot behind the ref's back. Okay, got it. Me and this guy don't have to talk about anything. I'm a heel, he's a babyface. These people have never seen wrestling before. But what everybody understands is this guy is like this, and this guy's like, whoa, back him up. This guy's a coward. This guy's one trying to fight. Every time this guy gets the up, this guy does this. So as soon as the ref turns his head and this guy goes, whoop, and this guy's, oh. You don't have to speak English to know that I cheated. And the ref say, hey, what happened here? What happened? I don't know. Hey, ref, my eyes. He poked me in my eyes. Ah, man, I can't see. Now, body language changes, because before I was doing this. Now the baby face is hurt. Now I'm like, yeah, I got you now, huh? Yeah, huh? Yeah, look at your man now. He's selling. He's in agony. He's showing, I'm hurt. And I'm like, yeah, a minute ago you was tough, huh? Then as soon as that baby face comes back and starts turning around and he's getting those shots in, or I missed something and bam, whoa, stop, wait, time out, wait. They've never seen wrestling before. They don't understand what wrestling is, but they know this guy's a hero, this guy's a coward.
Right on.
And if we're doing somewhere, I get the ref behind, I'm arguing with the ref, and I got this guy behind me, and I do the good old-fashioned wrestling, kick my leg back and give him the ball shot. I don't care where you're from on the planet. You know what a ball shot is. And everybody knows that shit's not fair.
Yeah, yeah. You cheater.
So if I do that and then I roll them up, 1, 2, 3, yeah, and I hurry up and get out the ring. Whoa. And that baby face is, but I'm like, yeah, yeah. Facials, body language. We don't have to speak the language. They understand the body language and the facial expression.
So facial expression is just as important as body.
Vince McMahon used to say, you make your money here. Here's where you make your money. Facial expressions are everything, because that's how you convey your mood. You know, does it hurt? Oh, does it feel good? Yeah. Jody Hamilton, one of the assassins, he taught me when I was down in Deep South something that it's just the little details that mean so much. He said, if you curl your fingers up like this, that's pain. Everybody knows that. So if I'm, if you kick me in the back and I go,
Okay.
you know that hurts. Like, what a little detail, Now, if you kick me in the back again and I go,
Fighting through it.
something just changed, Like I'm hurting, but when I turn this shit around, So those moments, those all moments when, I'm in the ring and I'm beating up on somebody and I'm showing my ass, and then Kane's music hits. Oh shit, damn. Facial expressions, The audience watching immediately know, oh yeah, you scared now, huh? Now you scared. That's how you convey everything, through your body language, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, whether you're feeling good, whether you're hurt, whether you're sad about something, whether you're happy about something. It's a television forum. So the people who are watching should be able to understand what's going on just by your face and your body. If you don't say a word, if they're just watching the match, following along with no sound, they should be able to follow along with the story based on how you tell them things are happening. And again, one of the perfect examples, many, many years ago, I don't know who put it together, but there was a trip to China where a bunch of Florida indie guys went. And I think Jeff Bradley was on that show. I'm pretty sure Lex Lovett and Wayne Myers was on that show. There's a bunch of guys that went. I don't know who set it up. I don't remember the details. I just remember they said that the first match, people were kind of like not really sure what was going on. But as the show went on, and you had these guys that were just going out there doing old school wrestling. I'm a good guy, I'm a bad guy. Very basic. They figured it out very quickly. They understood. Oh, he's the hero, he's the villain. They understood that by watch William Regal. His facial expressions, man, one of the best. Like his face, amazing. How he would move around the ring.
I'm better than you.
Yeah, it just, or like the Undertaker, he has no expression, right? But when he changes that face and you see he's pissed off, oh brother, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, even the refs.
Yeah, the refs back. Whoa. So yeah, it's your facial expressions and your body language tell the story of what's going on in the match. And if you're doing it right, you can do that with two skilled professional wrestlers anywhere on the planet, with people who have never watched wrestling before, but they'll understand what's going on because it's the oldest story known to man. Good versus evil.
And our buddy Mega Ran, shout out Mega Ran, his album, I Get It Now Even More, everything is pro wrestling.
Everything is pro wrestling, man. Everything comes back to pro wrestling. Art imitates life. Life influences art. Everything comes back around. Everything's pro wrestling. Everybody's selling. Everybody's buying. Everything's a work. As we say, oh, that's a work, brother. That's where everything's a work. Like everything you watch on television is a work. Everything's, that's you working me right now. Yeah, I'm working you. I'm working the hell out of you, because I'm trying to get you to buy this car. So I'm working you, Everything's pro wrestling.
Pete, that Mega Ran album is called "Wrestling Is Real, People Are Fake."
And that's a common saying
Right
that
on.
we
Right
been
on.
saying for a long time. Wrestling is real. People are fake.
Fact. Fact.
And a lot of your heroes are fake as fuck.
Next question. Next question for the
Bitch
day.
made motherfuckers. Another conversation.
What's the impact of audience demographics on match structure?
Oh, okay, so we're coming back to something I talked about before.
Yeah.
Know your audience.
Yeah.
The audience has a lot to do with the match because there's a synergy that takes place when you're doing when everything is hitting on all cylinders and everything's right. You already have an idea of the kind of match you want to have, and you'll go out there and you'll do something, and you get a reaction from the crowd, and you go, "Oh yeah, this is going to be good," you know. And then sometimes you get a crowd that just isn't. They're tired. They're not that into the match. They're not, whatever the case may be. Then that synergy's not there. So that desire for you to take that extra step to do that little bit more, it goes away because you're not getting that those endorphin drops, you know, from the crowd. I have seen, and I've just talked about this. I have seen matches that were, you know, what some would call. And I hate to use this term just because I hate the idiot who made it popular. I don't hate, just have no use for it. You know, a 3-star match made into a 5-star match by the reaction of the crowd. If they're into it, if they're digging it, if they're flowing and it's awesome, and you know, then you go, wow, that match was this good, but the crowd made it this good. And then I've seen matches that, you know, execution-wise, were the proverbial 5 stars. Just the crowd, maybe it was too late in the night and they've seen so much and they're tired now. If you had done that match an hour earlier, then you would have got the reaction from the crowd to give it that. So the demographic of the crowd matters. And, you know, I said, know your audience. You know, you don't do a Northeastern wrestling high spot, strong style match in the South, because depending on where you're at in the South, they're not really accustomed to that. You know, they want something a little more in tune with what they know, and it's a different diet. So the demographics of your match matter depending on where you're at. You know, like I said, you don't serve spaghetti to people looking for Chinese food. You know, and I've talked about this many times, man. Know your audience. Go out there and work your ass off. I'm never saying take a night off. But in our business, we'll say, oh man, working with Swayze is a night off. Because we're not pulling teeth, we're not arguing, we get it. We don't have to talk about a lot. You know what you're doing, I know what I'm doing. I know my role in the match, you know your role in the match. And we can just work, listen to the crowd. And that's something I think that a lot of the younger talent are losing, learning to listen to the crowd. Because for so many years, historically, you didn't get a chance to talk about your match before you had it. The heels were in one locker room, the baby faces were in another locker room. A referee would go to both sides and give the finish. And all you know is the finish is tonight, you're up, you're finished. And that's all I know. Or if there's a specific aspect to the finish where, you know, the referee has to be involved this kind of way, you know that. And then we're going to go out there and work, and we're going to talk in the ring, and we're going to make it happen. And I'm not saying that, you know, spending several hours to put together your incredible, dramatic Jason Statham style match, because there's an audience for that, and there's a crowd for that. But if you're doing live television, you have to remember it's live. Shit can and will go wrong. So you have to be able to work on the fly. The best places to practice that are in those shows where there's not a lot of people and it's not televised. So if you blow it, well, only a few people saw it, not the hundreds of thousands or millions on television. So the demographic of an audience affects the match by what kind of match you're going to have to entertain that audience. You know, I learned a long time ago, you'll have guys that, you know, will put together this big match and then the crowd's not responding. But instead of calling an audible and changing, they stay with what they had laid out. Well, that's not what these people don't want to see that. And I remember specifically, talking about a match one time, and there was a chop, and the crowd came undone from the chop. Oh, well, we know what we're doing now, from the chopped meat, and whatever we were talking about before, that's out the window now. We're not going to do that now.
Okay.
We're going to, on an audible, we're going to change it. Well, we had an idea we're going to go out there and do this awesome technical wrestling match. And these people want to see punches and kicks and brawls, like in the heyday of Puerto Rico, the blood and guts day with Colon and Abdullah the Butcher and Flair getting color and all. Don't go out there and do no Johnny Saint technical wrestling. Those people don't want to see that. They'll boo you out the building. They want to see blood. They want to see a fight. By the same token, World of Sport, back in the old English wrestling with rounds and, Johnny Saint and Jim Breaks and those guys doing this amazing hold, catch, that stuff was awesome. And that audience loved that. And if you brought some dudes just kicking and punching, the audience would shit all over that. Oh, these guys suck. They can't wrestle. So know your audience. Cater your match to your audience. Don't compromise your character. Be who you are, but know your audience and cater your match to your audience. And that's where the demographic matters. And I just talked about it. You don't do a Southern style match in the Northeast.
Right.
You don't do a Northeast style match in the South. Right. You can take elements of those things and work them in, but know who you're cooking for, and then you'll know that your audience will approve of your cooking right then. They'll let you know. Oh, we love this, or if you're not getting a reaction, or if you're not getting a raucous reaction, then you're doing something wrong. And it's not always your fault, because sometimes some of these indie shows go on for 5 hours, and you've had 20 matches on the card, and everyone is going out there trying to put on their main event match. So by the time you get out there, the actual main event, they've seen everything.
You're right.
And that comes to a different lesson about knowing your place on the card. The rest of the card is supposed to build up to the main event. And that's not to say that if you're a young talent, you're not supposed to go out there and have your best match. But, people go out there and steal the show. Well, don't do the main event match shit if you're not in the main event. That's not your job. These guys or women got 20 minutes to tell their story, to do their thing. You got 8 to 10 minutes, man. Have a good match, entertain the people, get them in, get your shit in, where it fits in the context of what it should be, and build the card. Tonight's not your night. Your night is coming. But tonight, your role is to get this babyface over, or to have a good, entertaining, engaging match to get the crowd ready for the main event. I come back to Chicago, Chicago is one of the greatest wrestling towns. And you can go out there and you can have an entertainment match, you can have a brawl, you can have a technical match. They get all of it, and then they're going to respond accordingly. But, some places you'll go, you're trying to serve them something they're not trying to eat, and then you're messing up.
Let me ask you, P. You were locked up for nine and a half years. Were you studying all of this, wrestling and
No, I didn't start studying wrestling until I got out. So when I was in prison, the last time I was at DeSoto Correctional Institution, and I remember they had I think WWF used to come on like Sundays at noon or something, or it was like the half-hour TV version, and it would cut right into count time. So we had this one officer who was super cool. He would try to let us watch as much as he could, and was like, all right, guys, TV got to go off now. We got to do count. So I was watching the Lex Express and Lex Luger slam Yokozuna on the battleship, and then I hadn't seen wrestling until I got to work release, and I told the story for the Patreon subscribers about me, and I've told the story publicly before about ECW being syndicated and being at the work release center, where I would get back from the AA before count was done. So they'd put us all in the day room, and then I'd put on ECW. And there was a rule back then in the Florida prison system that if a program was already in progress, you couldn't change the channel. So these guys would come out wanting to watch whatever, and they'd be mad because like, nope, we watching wrestling tonight. But it only took, like I said, 6 weeks to a couple months for the day room to fill up. Now they're putting chairs and block holding spots, and we're watching wrestling. So that's when I got reintroduced to wrestling. Shout out to Primetime Daryl D, my OG, who was a correctional officer at the Work Release Center.
Yeah, shout out Primetime. Was he bringing you tapes? Or?
What he used to do was, so we weren't allowed to leave the center until 7 a.m. So you get up, you go to breakfast, whatever, and everybody would kind of let's lounge by the front doors until they would unlock them to let us out. So, you know, depending on what time you finished, you had 30, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, just to kind of hang out. So what he would do is he would set up a TV and he would bring VHS tapes and he would play wrestling for us to watch while we were waiting to leave. And sometimes he'd bring VHS recordings of the pay-per-views. Sometimes he'd bring in some of his old matches. And that's what got my interest because I was watching and I'm like getting back into wrestling again. I'm watching ECW now, and I'm now, you know, this is the Monday Night Wars were coming to an end. And, you know, at this point, I didn't know who The Rock was, but I just saw this dude and I'm like, and this is what I talk about presence. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know anything about him, but it's like, who's that dude?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Like, just there was something about that guy, you know. When they had the commercial at the time that they filmed in Titan Towers, where all the wrestlers were fighting through the office building, I didn't know anybody but The Undertaker. And I was like, oh, man, Undertaker's still around? Like, oh, damn, that's cool. You know, like, obviously a different version. So when I got out, well, actually, Primetime, I had asked him one day, like, how you guys do that shit without really breaking each other's necks? You know? And he said, hey, man, I see you out there playing basketball, we're lifting weights, you know, you're athletic, you know, if you want to learn, I'll teach you. And I was like, for real? He said, yeah. I said, okay. And when I got out, he called me a few months after I got out and said, you still want to learn to wrestle? I said, yeah. You know, I need a hobby, something to keep me out of trouble, you know. And then he said, okay, I'll talk to you again in a few months. Then I didn't hear from him for a while. And then he called me again and said, do you still want to learn how to wrestle? I was like, yeah. He said, okay. He said, I wanted to make sure, you know, because, hey, you get out, you got life now. You're doing something, who knows, maybe you're not interested. And that's when I started to immerse myself into wrestling. That's when, and back then, YouTube didn't exist yet. So you had to be a tape trader, VHS tapes. And that's when, you know, the guys, he took me to the wrestling school. He started me in his backyard. And then he ended up taking me to Duke the Dumpster's wrestling school, where Soul Man Alex G had taken over as head trainer. And he introduced me to Alex, and I got trained at Duke the Dumpster's wrestling school as a favor to Prime. I never paid a penny for wrestling school. They didn't charge me a dime. Oh, man. They just taught me, but I was there at practice. I was there for the roads, you know. And they saw something. Those vets, you know, they looked around, they were like, oh, no, this kid got something, you know. And I was devoted to it. So then I became a student. Then I was ordering VHS tapes and borrowing VHS tapes. And when Norman Smiley brought me to his house one day and showed me Japanese wrestling for the first time, and I went.
So that was, you were in school, you're learning, and then you find out about Japanese wrestling.
Yes.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
man.
I mean, I knew that there were Japanese wrestlers. I didn't know about Japanese wrestling.
Right.
And as soon as I saw that, I went, yeah, I don't care about that Memphis style shit. I want to do that simulated combat. Yeah, I want to get suplexed on my head, you know, don't add the chemical imbalance, you know. But he showed me a tag match, and my memory, man, but I just remember it was a tag match with Manami Toyota and a partner, and Aja Kong and a partner. And man, they were kicking each other in the face, suplexing in the shots. It was brutal. And I'm women, as they call them, Joshi. And I was just blown away at the level of work rate that I'm seeing with these women in this Japanese wrestling. And on the finish, I popped up. And I went, Norman, that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He said, have a seat. That was the first fall. What? Yeah, this is what I want to do. So that's why I try to give some of the young guys a bit of leeway in that I was a young guy too. And I wanted to do this crazy Japanese shit. And I had OGs going, nah, kid, that's a great idea for you to do with someone else. Or like, and I remember Norman telling me, like, yeah, that strong style shit is a work. You can't do that every night. You watch these guys doing that at the Tokyo Dome or Korakuen Hall. These are big shows. The rest of the night, they're doing 3, 4-man tag matches. Easy. Remember my first time in Japan working with Masato Tanaka. My introduction to Masato Tanaka was ECW and Mike Awesome. Those, have you seen those?
No,
Dude,
no.
check out Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka ECW. This is your homework.
Done.
This is a match that's gonna make you go, what in the fuck? Masato Tanaka being powerbombed from the top turnbuckle through a table. You know, it's ridiculous. Taking multiple chair shots to the head. Bam, no selling. Just a bad man. And these matches were like sick matches. For fast forward, and I was the IWGP Intercontinental Champion. They wanted me to feud Masato Tanaka. And I'm just thinking like, damn, it's gonna be some rough nights, man. Masato Tanaka is that dude. And the very first night on the road that we had to work, it was a 6-man tag. And Masato Tanaka must have been, feeling kind of the same way because he comes over, MVP-san, tonight, easy, okay? I said, yeah, big okay. Yeah, easy, big okay. But for the major shows, you didn't get the same Masato Tanaka. You got turned up Masato Tanaka, who was laying it in.
Okay.
And I have this scar. Well, now it's kind of hard to see because I got a scar on top of a scar. But there's a scar right here on my arm that I got from Masato Tanaka when we had a match at Ryogoku. And he does a move where he sets you up on a Japanese table. Now, if you watch Japanese wrestling, the tables that they use over there are very different from American tables. They're constructed differently, they're slender, and there's a joke in the wrestling business about the Japanese tables not wanting to do the job.
Oh.
They don't break the right way all the time. And he would do this thing where he set you up on the table, he'd get up on the top turnbuckle, and he'd do a splash. And, splash you through the table. This particular night, like the table broke, but I went through it. So like the metal parts on the side, they didn't bend, they didn't break. They stayed straight, and just the wood of the table broke. So I was like stuck like this. And the way the table broke, it didn't explode. It broke where it kind of had jagged edges. So when I finally came out, I was laying down, and he came with part of the table and came down like to stab me with it, hit me with it. And it cut my arm open pretty bad. He didn't mean to do it. He wasn't being careless. It was total accident. But afterwards, I probably should have got a few stitches, but instead just glued it shut and just kept going.
That's a serious area though right there, man.
Yeah. And it's the long way too. It's not that fake this way. And I really went for it. But it's kind of funny because I think I think that he would give me those forearms, and he would give you like a combo of forearms, and my nose got a little bloody, and not from carelessness, just like we were going hard, laying it in, banging. And afterwards, I was grateful for the match. It was so awesome because this is the guy that I used to watch on VHS tape, and now I'm feuding with him for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Like my dream has come true. I am wrestling in Japan. I have a title. I'm working with my idols, and I always thought like how cool it is to have that scar as just like the memento, the memento from Masato Tanaka. Like wow, and that I still have that boyish enthusiasm, that appreciation. Like yeah, Masato Tanaka gave me that scar right there. But I don't even know where the hell I was at on that.
Well, prime time.
Yeah, but prime time. Sean introducing me to wrestling, and then Norman introducing me to Japanese wrestling, and then me immersing myself in wrestling. Norman introduced me to British wrestling, and then European wrestling, and then I started watching lucha, and I just wanted to be a student, so I started studying everything to learn about all the different aspects of wrestling, because I wanted to be a wrestler's wrestler. If I stepped in there with a luchador, I could post for him, I could work from the right side. If I got in there with an English wrestler, I knew how to do the smooth reversals and the holds and the in and out. If I got in there with a brawler and it was a hardcore match, I could brawl with the best of them. I wanted to be able to have a match with anyone, any style, anywhere. And I think over the body of my career, I've pretty much proven that I can do that. And I know that's not where we started, but that's where we ended.
That's where we're gonna end up.
I don't know. Maybe it's the bourbon, man. Maybe it's the bourbon. But hey, I say all the time, man, I'm just so aware of the career that I've had. And I've been making money in pro wrestling for 20 years. I haven't had a job outside of the wrestling ecosphere since I started with WWE, however many years ago. From that point, my television time there was strong enough that I was able to go to Japan. I went to Impact. I was off TV for several years, just doing independence, and was still staying busy, booked. And then, you know, the second act, you know, the pandemic P and whatnot.
Pandemic P.
So I've been so fortunate, and I recognize it. And I'm happy to be here. And you know, one of the things I love about doing this podcast is when I share these stories or I share these gems, and I'll have young wrestlers come up and tell me, "Hey, man, I've been watching you at your show. Thank you so much for this gem." Or, "Man, you were talking to Dwayne about that gem." Or they'll talk about the question that you asked. It was so good because it allowed them to get that answer. Go, you know, I never thought about it. That was a good question, so thank you. So again, if you're a fan and you're watching this, you get a peek behind the curtain, understand why we do the things we do. And this is specifically my opinion based on my experiences. Other people might do it different. Other people might have a different way to go about things. But I learned from people like Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, The Undertaker. These are the people who taught me. So if I'm giving these gems to you, all I'm doing is paying it forward, because I had the OGs, like I said, like Norman Smiley and Dave Johnson. Name some guys you never heard of who were tremendously talented, who worked the territories. They gave me these gems, and I get to give them to you. Or how does it be? To you. That was my Bane impersonation, my Tom Hardy Bane.
Nice.
Not really, but thanks. We're done. This is it. It's finished. So, as we say all the time, please like, comment, subscribe. The algorithm. Subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah, even if you're not sure about joining one of the paid tiers, join the free tier so you can see the content, and then you will level up. I promise you.
We really make it a point to over deliver on the Patreon, because if you're kind enough to give us your money, we want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth. I guess we're done, man.
Yeah, man.
No, you can't do it this time.
I'm empty anyway. I'm empty.
Oh, that's a shame. No, we can't go out with an empty glass.
Look what you guys did.
Never empty, man. That clip should never be empty. Never be empty.
Right on.
Never be empty. Shout out to Spike Spiegel, Jet Black, Faye, I can't remember Faye's last name, Ein, Edward, the Bebop crew. See you, Space Cowboy. Shinichiro Watanabe.
I just lay back in something new. Whiskey 21 and over, low ball. Make it too neat. Dizzer from Harlem. Yeah, I'm from Houston, off of Fondren. Mike Mazan and real world flow. Plant these seeds in the streets and in weeks. Watch it blossom. Dark night, riding on chrome, swinging through Gotham. It's me and P, repaving these roads.